Hi, everyone. I'm super excited that you're here today. I'm so excited for today's live with my dear friend Pia, who is from Finland, but she's currently living in Uruguay. She actually had the idea to do this live. She told me, Camille, I would love to see a life coaching language live or video. And I was like, Pia, do you want to do it with me? And she so graciously said yes. And so here we are doing this life coaching or language coaching live. And so thank you so much, Pia, for being here with me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you for inviting me, Camille.
Yes. And thank you, everyone, for coming into the live, for watching. Hi, Marika, Isaias, um, Motivacion Reyes. Hey, guys, thank you for joining. So, if you guys do have any language learning questions, feel free to put them in the box and we'll get to them after the coaching part of this live. Hi, Haroon. And also, thank you so much to Terry from Hello Talk for sharing about this live. I appreciate it so much. I love the app Hello Talk, it's great for learning languages. So, with that being said, Pia, why don't you share a little bit about your journey with language learning, about the languages that you already speak, and the language you're trying to learn?
Yeah, okay. So my native language is Finnish. Of course, I'm from Finland, but then in our school education system, we learn a lot of languages. So that's how I started. And in my
Mm-hmm.
family, my father is very fluent in both English and Swedish. And when I was a child, we actually lived in Sweden for 1 year, so I could speak a little bit of Swedish when I was 5. But then in the school, I was always eager to learn English and also Swedish, and then I had German. But what was my problem over the years, and what I'm still kind of struggling with, is that when I'm trying to learn a language, I'm very shy in talking with people, and just at that awkward stage when you don't have the words, and then you want to use your hands a lot, and then you're just like, oh, I don't know how to say this. So, so that's I'm currently learning Spanish, and I learn a little bit of Russian and also Portuguese, but those are like very like basic stage of
Yeah.
languages.
That's amazing, Pia. And just to give you guys reference, so language coaching, I don't just give Pia all of the answers. So, what I do is I'll have a conversation with her. I'll listen to where she wants to go, what she wants to accomplish, and I'll ask her questions and I'll let her come up with a plan and ideas. And then I'll be here to encourage her and help motivate her and maybe suggest some things as well. But really, when you do coaching, it's about the client, in this case, Pia, just trying to brainstorm and figure out what works best with her lifestyle, with where she's at, and all of those things. So, because I could be like, Pia, this is what I do to learn languages, do all of that. But maybe Pia doesn't have the time to do what I do or the same interests that I have. And so the cool thing about life coaching is that she can have a plan that's customed for her lifestyle, for her interests. So thank you, Pia, for being just so willing to do this life coaching session.
I'm really
So,
excited.
yes, let's get started. So, Pia, what would you like to talk about today in our session?
So my primary goal from this session is to find like exactly what you said, like a plan that I can really take into my everyday life. So I'm very busy. I'm a mom of two, and I also in my job I use a lot of energy. So even though I get some exposure to different languages, it's still like at the nighttime when I have the time, short time, I'm trying to learn, but then my brain is really drained out. I don't have much energy, so I try to keep it as light and easy. But I want
Mm-hmm.
to learn more vocabulary, and Spanish is the target language that I really want to explore, and I want to be fluent in speaking within a certain time frame. So that's basically what I'm after. So
That's really good. So to have a plan to help you become fluent in Spanish.
yes.
Yes. And what is your motivation behind that, Pia? Why do you want to learn Spanish?
Well, a few years ago, I my heart just opened to the Spanish speaking world. It actually happened when our family was in Australia. I was just like, I'm so far away from my home, so maybe I can explore the Spanish speaking world in Latin America. Or so that was my dream. And then later on, I got this opportunity to move to Uruguay, and I had already spent 1 year living in Finland and just with Duolingo learning Spanish. But I used Hello Talk, and I couldn't really talk with people. I didn't have a lot of vocabulary. So then I stopped. And now that I'm here, I'm really just exposing myself to the language, and I want to be fluent so that I can speak with people in here. And my long-term dream would be to move to Spanish-speaking world for a long time. We're now here for a few years, but maybe for
Okay.
10 more years in Europe,
Yeah.
in Spain, that would be my dream.
Okay. So your desire to learn Spanish is so that you can be able to live in Spanish speaking countries and be able to communicate with the people in the country that you're in. Is that correct? And
Yes, yes.
what are you currently doing right now with studying Spanish?
So basically, I get to speak a little bit with the Spanish-speaking people during my day, but then
Mm-hmm.
at the nighttime, I every day I do one Duolingo session. It's very short, maybe 5 minutes, but then I just train my vocabulary, and then I also read during the weekends. I read Spanish. I might read some Spanish when I'm working, but not like I use Google Translate, so that doesn't help me learn much. So yeah,
Yes.
I'm very limited with what I can do right now.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
would love to be more organized. But usually I learn the most in the social setting when I speak with people, when I hear
Mm-hmm.
a podcast or through stories, through people's lives experience. Social work is my field of profession and working with people. So it's like that sphere where I learn the most when I interact with others or hear stories.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And where do you feel like your current level of Spanish is, Pia?
Well, I can have like a basic talk with people. When I call someone, I can understand, I can explain what my issue is, but I usually lack the good vocabulary. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
just basic language, but I can have a discussion and I can get myself understood. But it might,
Okay.
I might use hands and yeah, trying to help the other
Yes.
person guess what I'm missing. So not
Oh,
very high level, very
okay.
basic still.
Okay. Okay. And how much time? So you mentioned that you do have work and that you have a lot going on. How much time can you give to studying Spanish in your day to day? And it might look different the weekdays and the weekend.
I think during the weekdays, maybe 20 to 30 minutes is like the best that I can give. Although I
Mm-hmm.
get exposure during the day, but that's when I can be very active and when I can be very involved and when I have the free time. But then during
Yes.
weekend, I have more. Of course, I try to spend time a lot with my family, and they all speak Finnish and English, so it's they don't speak a lot of Spanish. Although my kids are learning it in the school, but at this stage, it's mostly maybe 2 or 3 hours during the each weekend day that I can spend
Okay.
for learning
Yeah.
language.
Yeah. And what are some, let's just explore some potential ideas. You don't have to commit to any of these things right now, but let's just
Mhm.
talk about some different ideas, some different things that maybe you're interested in that could help you become more fluent in Spanish. So, what are some things? So, you've learned some languages in the past. Could you maybe just talk about what are some things that are interesting to you or things that you might be willing to explore or try when it comes to studying Spanish?
Well, for example, I'm a reader, so I love stories and I love writing. So I've been thinking that because I just downloaded Hello Talk app again and started using it this
Mm-hmm.
weekend actually. So I was
Okay.
thinking maybe finding someone that I can read some book that interests me, like fiction, and then maybe they can correct my pronunciation, or I don't know if that's something that would work, but that's been one idea. But then
Yeah.
also having like a certain topic that where I'm exploring the vocabulary, talking with some people
Mm-hmm.
about that topic. So
Mm-hmm.
those are a few of the things. And then also maybe just checking different vocabulary that I want to expand and then discussing based on that. Because I have like a platform where I put different words that I'm learning each week. But if
Okay.
I would change that each week, now I have like before and after, and I have different numbers like 40, 50, 60. So that because at the stores, people always talk numbers, and I'm so lost. I'm like, okay, I can count to
Yes.
20, but please, can you show the number? So now I'm starting to learn how to say different numbers, and yeah, so it's getting easier with that. So when I see, so I'm also a visual learner, but also through hearing and speaking, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that helps me with my shyness when I just speak and get more. People are really friendly here, so it's easy to practice with them. They are very forgiving, so that's why I like the warm culture in here. In Uruguay, they're always like, "Yeah, I want to help you. Just let's find the word that you're missing." So they're
Yes.
it's so nice.
Yes. That's amazing. So far you mentioned a few ideas. So one of them you talked about was going on the Hello Talk app and finding somebody that you can practice reading Spanish with and having them correct your pronunciation. And then another thing was just maybe writing lists and things of vocabulary that could help you with Spanish. And then you also mentioned just learning, like especially numbers and things like that. And
Mm,
then you mentioned just talking with locals again, even though that's something that's a little intimidating to you at this
yeah,
time, which is
yeah.
understandable. I think that's normal in the language learning journey to have those fears and hesitations when it comes to speaking. But I love that you said that where you are, people are so warm and open and friendly. And I think they'll be so excited to hear you just trying, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And they
Yeah.
don't, a lot of them don't speak English. So then Spanish is the only language that we can really communicate. So they are excited that I'm learning. So I'm always saying, I only speak a little bit of Spanish, but I'm learning. So they are really excited always to hear that.
Yeah, that's amazing. What other ideas come to mind? What are other things that you could do with your 30 minutes on the weekdays and then a little more time on the weekend? Can you think of anything?
Well, I have few friends who are from Spanish speaking world. So even maybe sending a voice message because they're my friends and they know me, so I can be awkward and whatever with my language skills. So maybe sending them a voice message or writing like keeping in touch with the people that I know very very well and who are fluent in Spanish. So maybe that could be
Mm-hmm.
one option
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah, that's really good. What else comes to your mind? What else interests you?
Well, I think books are very interesting for me. So now I have
Mm-hmm.
one book that I bought, and I have listened this book in audiobook. Um,
Okay.
so I don't know, maybe audiobooks could help me too in Spanish. Something that
Mm-hmm.
I've read before. I'm also when we are watching a movie, our subtitles are always in Spanish. I'm also looking for like a series in Spanish that I would really love to watch that is
Okay.
spoken both in Spanish and also written in Spanish. So that could be one option. And then those kind of things. But I think with books, what helps is to seeing and also if I have the audio book, then I could both look at the text and also hear it.
Yeah,
So
that
maybe
is
that's
a
good.
great way. Absolutely. Listening and seeing the words at the same time. That's
Yeah.
amazing. It looks like Marika has a suggestion for you on a series
Okay.
that she loves. If you guys are
Great.
just coming into the live, I'm currently talking with Pia, who's from Finland, currently living in Uruguay, and we're doing a life coaching session, language life coaching session, just exploring different avenues for her to get to the next level in her language learning journey. So, yes, Pia. So, you mentioned so many good things. What else comes to mind? What else could you do to help you get to that next level in your Spanish?
Well, I've seen people, friends of mine, learning like Finnish. It's very tough language, so I saw them kind of writing different words on different rooms that are kind of like the topic of that room in the kitchen, like writing those words on the cupboard and like different places so that they get exposure all the time in their home and kind of expand the vocabulary by that way. So that could be one
Yeah,
option too. Just
that's
very
great.
very simple and maybe changing each week or each
Mm-hmm.
month or
Mm-hmm.
adding. So yeah.
That's amazing. If you guys can hear, like I just keep asking Pia, what else? What else? I'm trying to hear what's going on in her mind because I want her to come up with the answers to her own issue, which is getting fluent in Spanish, getting to that next level. And so that's something that you guys can ask yourself. Just brainstorm, which means write down a huge list of ideas that comes to mind. What's something you can try? What's something that's interesting to you? And after you've, thought and written down every single idea, then you can go into the next step. I'm just helping you kind of coach yourself a little bit. So, Pia, what else comes to mind? We'll exhaust this. We'll keep asking. We'll
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
because we're just exploring right now. Pia hasn't committed to doing any of these things yet, but these are ideas that are in her mind. So, we'll go ahead after and set some practical goals that will help her. But go ahead, Pia. What else comes to mind?
Well, one thing that I'm very intimidated about now that I'm again in Hello Talk, I'm writing a lot, but then speaking, like sending an audio message, that's very intimidating for me.
Yes.
But that's the way how I actually practice with the locals in here, and that's even when we go to a hotel, I start speaking in Spanish because I'm always speaking in Spanish whenever I'm around people in here. So then
Yes.
when they answer me in English, I'm like, oh, I'm surprised you can speak English. So then I switch. But in Hello Talk, many people speak English. So that's why it's harder for me to kind of get over that barrier that I have. So in there,
Mm-hmm.
I find myself being more shy from speaking. And that's what's actually been so good for me, that I'm using my language so much when
Yes.
I just have to speak here.
Yes. What do you think is most, you use the word intimidating. What is most intimidating for you when it comes to stepping out and speaking Spanish?
I think it's a lot of, because I'm very fluent in English and I practice it and learn it in the school and use it a lot. So I think I always compare with that language. Even when we were living in Sweden, I've studied a lot of years Swedish, but then I was not very good at speaking. So in Spanish, I feel like it kind of exposes to me how much I miss vocabulary, how much I don't know. So the fear of kind of feeling like a failure, I think that's what I face when I am in that kind of like very awkward moment when I don't have any words and I kind of get frozen and I'm like, oh no, I don't know what to say. And we don't have,
Yeah.
and then I usually switch to English, and that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like the comfortable area.
Yeah.
So in Hello Talk, that's what is kind of like hindering me. Um,
Okay. What's hindering you is fearing that you're not going to have the words and be a failure with the
yeah,
language. Is that what I'm hearing?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's a whole nother area of coaching we could go in, Pia, if
Yeah,
you
I know.
want to. Yes, because there's always things behind that, the mindset
Yeah,
and things like that. And if you wanted, we could take a few minutes after we set some practical goals for language learning and just go in and explore that a little bit, only if you want to. I know that's more
yeah.
vulnerable, but I
You,
would
I
be
love that.
happy.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Well, out of all of the things that you talked about today, what are some things that excite you the most that you feel like you could say, okay, I'm going to do this during the week. I'm going to do this during the weekend. I'm going to commit this much time. And I feel like with these things, I will be able to get to the next level. Because putting our goals down in writing, you guys, you're going to be 44% more likely to walk through and to see those goals accomplished. So writing down your goals is so important when it comes to language learning. So Pia, I'll let you go ahead and just if anything of those ideas pops out at you, comes to mind. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I've been already doing and I could expand is reading my favorite book in Spanish. So I every weekend I take my book in the morning. I take my mate, it's a local drink, and then
Yeah.
I'm here in the garden and I'm just reading out loud. So maybe I could take my Hello Talk if I find a friend who would like to practice when I'm reading, and I could help them do the same in Finnish. I
Mhm.
could read
Mhm.
out loud for them, record it. So I'm already doing it anyway. So maybe I could just expand that, what I'm already doing, to Hello
Okay.
Talk, and then get some like corrections, what I'm not pronouncing well. And then I learn those words because they're exposed. Like, this is how you say it. And then I'm repeating them. So that's one of the things I'm
Okay.
excited.
Yeah, that's so good. Is there anything else out of all the things we explored that you want to add on to what you're already doing, or do you just want to start with this and see where that goes?
Well, I think what's been really helpful is writing those words down and changing, because now
Okay.
even this week I was practicing the words before and after, and I would talk with someone and then I would go to see, okay, this is the word that I'm trying to say and I forgot. So it was the word before, and I'm kind of like confused which one is, or cold and warm, that was what I was missing in
Yes.
the beginning. So I would always
Yes.
mix them, and then learning kind of the opposites. So if
Mm-hmm.
I would write the
Mm-hmm.
opposites and change them each week, maybe that can help. And with the numbers and
Okay.
that, like
Okay.
changing the words that I'm kind of seeing on the board each week.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. So you're deciding right now to commit to those. I guess it's sort of three
Yeah.
things that you have: the reading of the book, the trying to find somebody on Hello Talk to speak with, and then going over words like numbers and opposites and vocabulary, writing them down and practicing them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think those are where I'm really excited, and I've seen them work for me, but I
Mm-hmm.
haven't gone all the way. Like, I had for maybe 3 months the same words on the board, and I wasn't really pursuing this, so it didn't help me a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, totally. Well, that's great, Pia. How do you
Yeah.
feel having those three goals to work towards? How does that make you feel?
I feel like it's like a good amount of practice and good amount of time. It's not like kind of like too much, because that's
Yeah,
what overwhelms me easily when
yeah.
I take too big goals all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
and then I it's hard to keep up with my own goals. So then I kind of feel like, oh, I didn't achieve what I wanted. But then kind of
Yes.
like putting a low enough bar to reach, and then I can do that each day, each week. They can be like daily goals, weekly goals,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe monthly goals, so I can kind of check that I'm doing them, and over time that will help for sure.
Yes, that's amazing. So you feel like these are practical goals that you're able to keep up with on a weekly basis, and it's not too overwhelming for you, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And you also mentioned at the beginning, because motivation is so important, that your main goal is to live overseas in Spanish speaking countries, which right now you're in Uruguay. You're looking at possibly going to Spain for long term. And so
yes,
that's why learning Spanish is so important to you. So that's amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
Did you feel like with these 20 minutes or so that we've been talking, that you were able to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish in our time together?
Yeah, I feel like it's easier when you talk these things. I've been thinking about this, and then I've been
Yeah.
kind of having this discourse in my own head with myself. But then talking with someone else who is like kind of validates your goals and what you want to achieve, and then kind of it helps me to clarify what I really want and what is actually exciting for me, because for me it's usually, if I am excited about the ideas that I have, then it's
Yeah.
easier to put them like in practice, do them.
Yeah. Totally. Well, I encourage you, Pia, to write down those goals that you have. And like you said, just keep looking back, checking in with yourself, reevaluating. Because you guys, the language learning journey, it changes. Sometimes you're able to do more, one month than the next month. Some things can come up. So I say reevaluate. Is what you're doing fun and exciting for you? Are you enjoying it? Does it fit in with your lifestyle? Is it overwhelming for you? And if you don't have anyone to talk it out with, like Pia said, talking it out is so helpful. Just try to talk it out loud with yourself. I know it sounds crazy, but it can help just to talk it out or talk it out with a language learning partner and just see what works best for you, because things do change. Things change in our lives. And so we don't always have the same routine that maybe we had a month before or a year before. And so expectations might need to shift in your own life. So Pia, all by herself, came up with these ideas. I just asked her questions. I asked her where she wanted to go, why she's learning, and she came up with these ideas all on her own. So Pia, do you want to explore? You mentioned being intimidated to speak, and that's something that also is hindering you a bit. Is that something you want to take the next few minutes and talk that out with me as well?
Yeah, sure. Because I noticed it coming up again when I downloaded Hello Talk and I started using it.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I'm more fluent in Spanish than I was like a long while ago when I first started using it. And then I kind of froze. I didn't want to use it because I didn't have much vocabulary. Now I have more that I'm using every day. So
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
it's more rewarding, but then it's still like I face this same kind of mentality, because
Yeah.
when I was growing up and I was in the school system was educating me in the language. And then I thought, okay, now I'm a grown up. I'm not in the school anymore. So nobody
Mm-hmm.
is helping me. I can't learn a language anymore. But then you were
Okay.
inspiring me because you were learning language on your own. And I was like, look at her. She can do it. So why can't I do it? Like I have learned languages before, but it was kind of like this barrier of thinking I need to be in the school to learn the language, which is not
Mm-hmm.
true. You can learn
Yeah.
language if you just want to do it and you commit and you do the daily work and find a way
Absolutely.
how it works for you. So
Yeah. And it's funny because you actually inspired me to start learning more languages, because we were living in Hawaii, me and Pia, at the same time. And she asked me, why do you only speak Spanish and English? And I was like, I am so insulted, Pia. That's two languages. I'm American. And then, no, but I got to thinking and I was like, I do waste a lot of time just watching English shows on Netflix. I wasn't super into Spanish at the time. And I decided to learn Italian, which then set me on this language learning journey. Then I learned Portuguese. Now I'm learning French. And now I'm like, I love languages. So you played a huge role in that, Pia, which is amazing. Yeah, I love that. So let's explore that a little bit. You guys, if you're new in here, welcome wherever you're watching from. If you guys have language learning questions, you can write them in the box and we'll get to them in a few minutes. But I'm about to change direction. Pia already set some goals to get her to the next level in Spanish, and we're now going to explore some of the mindset things that go behind learning a language. So Pia shared a little bit about her mindset, her fears to speak Spanish because she's afraid of failing, which is a vulnerable thing to talk about in this live, Pia. So I'm so happy just to be a sounding board for you in this time, which sounding board, you guys, just means a safe place where she can talk and I listen. So, Pia, what would you like to, okay, in exploring this, what conclusion would you like to come out with at the end of our few minutes here?
so what I want to find kind of like, because I find it very satisfying when I go over my fears and when I just pursue the dreams that I have. And even though I'm very afraid, I just go and do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of those kind of things in my life. And with the language learning, I want to do the same thing. I want to be bold. And kind of that's one of my life goals. I want to grow in boldness and just being courageous in how I live. So this is the area in language learning where I want to use that. And I don't know, maybe just like repeat in my mind to myself that I can learn languages outside of school, because
Mm-hmm.
that's how I usually learn the best, when I just have my own goals and I have my own excitement, and I find the ways how I enjoy learning. In school, you have to do, it's mandatory. You have to show up each lesson.
Yes.
You don't maybe like the topics or the way
Yes.
how you're learning, but in
Mm-hmm.
life you are free to explore the language like you want to, and with the
Mm-hmm.
topics that you're really interested in. So just like bringing that excitement and boldness, and just like
Yeah.
human interaction. I love people and I love hearing their stories. So
Mm-hmm.
even sharing that, like just having that mind that is open, like curious for others' lives. And yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. So you previously had the mindset that you have to go to school to learn a language, and you've broken that mindset. Is it something you're saying that you still struggle with a little bit, like thinking like, "Oh my gosh, I need to go to school to learn this?" Or do
Yeah,
you
I
feel
think,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
with the vocabulary, because school, for me, language learning was all about just learning different words. We had tests each week, like, did you learn these words and how are you using them? Are you writing correctly? And it was all about this in your head, but we were never really practicing the spoken language. And
Yeah.
then now I learn so much when I just speak. But then I kind of have this fear that, oh no, I haven't been practicing the vocabulary like in the school. I haven't had the test. I don't have the teacher. I don't have kind of like the structure that I was telling myself that this is how you learn a language. So now
Yeah.
I'm kind of like the teacher myself. I push myself forward. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
test my skills when I'm stepping out of my comfort zone and talking with people in Hello Talk. Yeah, I think like for me, sending a voice message in Hello Talk is like having taking a test, basically. Like, how
Yes.
is my vocabulary? How
Yeah.
have I been practicing my language this week? So
Yeah. What is your self talk, Pia? What are you telling yourself when it comes to sending those audio messages? What is your mindset, if you wouldn't mind just
yeah, I think
sharing?
it's just so awkward listening your own voice. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
love to speak with people, and then it's not all about me. But when I'm sending a message, I feel like, oh no, like I'm the one who is speaking, and I'm just like, I want to focus on them and what are they thinking, and just being interested about their lives. So maybe if I could change, like I can ask questions when I'm sending the message, then it's more about them, and then it's more about the relationship and the connection and learning from each other,
Mm-hmm.
not just like me being like having a monologue.
Yeah, that's really good. So focusing on the relationship could help you versus just focusing on you trying to practice even.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
really
I
good.
love to help people. So that's why I even chose this profession, working with people, helping them in different ways. So like in Hello Talk, I like the idea how it's about helping each other. So, but then
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to just be the one who receives the help, and kind of like I want it to be mutual, so that I will help them and also
Yeah.
kind of like share.
That's really good. It looks like you already have Stevenson. I think he's from Colombia. He said that you guys could exchange languages. He could help you with Spanish. You
Oh,
could help him
that's
with
amazing.
English. So
Yeah,
maybe
sounds
you
fun.
already found somebody, Pia, that
Yeah.
is willing here, to help you. That's amazing. Yeah. What happens when you send a message to somebody in Spanish, an audio message? After you send it, what's going through your mind?
I think it's like I was really shy when I was growing up and in the school. So I was like, oh no, I'm the shy girl, and I'm just so quiet in the group setting. I'm very introverted. So that kind of like setup comes to my mind. Like, look at you, shy girl. I'm very introverted, and you're not, like, you're being really awkward with this message. So I think that's like my childhood school years comes to my mind when I'm kind of
Okay.
stepping out of my comfort zone and sending the voice message. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think is something that you could do to overcome that now as an adult, to not escape back to when you were a kid in your mind, but to just have a new mindset? What is something that could help you?
I think what helps me is about the other person, like
Okay.
kind of like
Yeah.
switching. It's not about me. My voice message is about me wanting to connect with this person, and we sharing something, and just thinking about them and what they might be interested in hearing, and what
Mm-hmm.
might maybe share some joy to their day, and maybe telling funny stories. I love sense of humor. That's
Yes.
why I love spending time with you. We always laugh, and yeah. So
Yes.
maybe just even thinking, how can I bring joy to their day with this message,
Yeah. Oh, that's
or
really
yeah,
good.
finding
Mm-hmm.
those kind of ways. What is their interest, and maybe talking about that if they love the garden, or
Yeah.
different things, animals. Maybe like talking
Mm-hmm.
about the
Mm-hmm.
topic that I know that they love. So.
That's really good. You guys, through just processing about Pia's fear of stepping out and speaking Spanish, she's realizing that she can actually just shift her mindset and make it more about the other person, not about her speaking Spanish or that, but trying to get to know the other person, trying to bring just joy into the friendship and making it more about a friendship versus like, hey, here I am, I need help with my Spanish, which I love. That's really cool. Oh, hey, Pia. There's somebody here from Uruguay. Pia is living in Uruguay right now,
So
which is
cool.
super cool. Wow. And they want to learn Finnish, Pia.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. You
That's
don't hear
amazing.
that too often. That's really
No.
cool. Hi, you guys. If you have any questions, language learning questions, we're going to get to those soon. So feel free to write them in the question box. But I'm just processing with Pia. We're hanging out. We're having a conversation about language learning. And I really like, Pia, what you said. That kind of changes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of takes me out of that. Okay, I'm in the pulpit, I'm giving this speech, and I'm being awkward. It's about me. Am I failing? And it's not about me. It's about like we are becoming friends. I'm getting to know you, and who are you? What do you really love, and what excites you, and what brings you joy? So finding that through the conversation.
That's really good. I love that, Pia. That's amazing. I'm gonna like incorporate that even into learning French,
Mm,
because I'm struggling a little bit with it. So I love that idea. Just make it more about the other person and hearing from them and learning from them and enjoying the language learning journey along the way. That's really good.
yeah.
How is your level now thinking about leaving those messages in Spanish? How are you feeling now as compared to before?
I'm really excited. I feel like now I get to speak with new friends, and we have the same goal, learning language and kind of finding the topics that we both enjoy. And then it can be like a refreshing thing at the night when I'm tired. It can be something fun, something exciting, and not just like I have to do something and it's mandatory, but it's more like this is such a joy.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I love that, Pia. You've come up with just some great ideas here in our time together. Yeah, wow. Thank you, Pia. Thank you for being here today, for letting me just ask you these questions, exploring your mind. It's been amazing. I think I think we have a little bit of a delay in our conversation because Pia got really fuzzy. Oh, there you are, Pia.
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you. This was really helpful. And I think like I couldn't have come up with this kind of things just on my own in my head. So just having this conversation and just being really vulnerable about what is it all really about? Like why do I hit this
Mm-hmm.
barrier with my language learning? How can I get through it and get forward? So this has been really helpful for me. Thank you,
That's
Camille.
so good. Thank you. I'll go ahead. Somebody's asking how they can get in touch with you. So I'm just linking below. You can follow Pia on Instagram. You can follow my Instagram. I also do weekly lives on there as well. And I'm going to let Pia go back to her family now. And I'm just going to stay online and answer any language learning questions you guys might have. So we're going to shift a little bit and go into a Q&A. So thank you so much, Pia.
Thank you, Camille. Have a great day.
Adios. I'll
Adios.
check back in with you, Pia, next month and just see how your language
Yeah,
learning goals are going, see where you're at. If you want to do a little
yeah,
update on social media to let people know that we're here watching this live, that would be amazing.
yeah. Sounds really fun. Let's do that.
Awesome. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, you guys. Thank you guys for hanging in here with me. If you guys have any language learning questions, that is what I'm here for. So if you don't, then I can't just sit here and talk. I guess maybe I could. But let me just see, you guys. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. Um, I know. I wish that I could help you guys all personally and individually with your English. I'm going to start, I think, doing some group conversation classes because I feel like that will be super useful, giving people an opportunity just to practice their spoken English, correcting their pronunciation, and helping. And thank you so much, Finding Name. I appreciate your comment. I'm having issues with have, has, and had. That is a whole grammar. I should actually do a video on those because that would be like a whole grammar live or a video because there's a lot with that. But I will definitely consider doing that to help you with those words. What are your struggles with language learning? I saw some of you guys are saying you're having a hard time finding partners, maybe even looking at names of people in here and seeing if somebody here you could just change with just to have practice with them. Yes, I do speak Spanish, Fer. It was my first foreign language that I learned in Mexico. I lived there a total of a year, and I also lived for 2 years in Spain. So with Spanish, I actually took a course for 9 weeks with a private teacher. It was just me and my husband and her. And every day we went to class, and then we lived with a Mexican family as well that did not speak English. So it was like full on immersion. And so we were able to learn Spanish pretty well. Yeah, I like Spanish. What are you doing, Haroon? He said, I'm doing a lot of things while watching. You guys, this is a prime time to ask any language learning questions that you may have. Let me know where your struggles are, and I would be happy to talk about them. I love talking about language learning, helping you get over your struggles. People ask questions often. I think the speaking thing is something that people do struggle with, speaking. So some of my tips for that are always if you can't find a language partner, speaking out loud to yourself, it's okay. Speaking as much as you can wherever you are. And shadowing is a really good thing. It's when you watch a video and you copy what the person says. It's super helpful to do that with subtitles because, yes, then you can read, you can see how you pronounce words because English isn't like Spanish. It's not pronounced how it looks. And I'm finding that in French right now as well. And it's hard. So I have more compassion for you guys learning English. It's not easy, but with a lot of practice, you will get better for sure. Oh, virtual hug. Hi, Alejandro. Oh, Fer, thank you. Muchas gracias, Stevenson. Said what you need in Spanish can help you. You guys, any language learning questions? I just wanted to give some space for that at the end of this live. I'm trying to think of what I'm most asked when it comes to language learning. I think everyone wants to learn quickly, which, of course, who doesn't want to learn a language fast? And I feel like the more that you invest in the language, the more you'll get out of it. So if you're studying a language just for 10 minutes a day, it's going to take you longer to learn the language versus studying for 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day. I did a full-on experiment with Portuguese. I had known some Spanish grammar and Italian grammar, but I decided to study Portuguese without studying any grammar. But I immersed myself with native speakers, with a lot of Brazilians. I was reading books, I was watching series, never studied grammar officially, and I learned Portuguese, and I feel like it's one of my strongest languages now, which is super interesting. So, finding name, yeah. So, places to find language partners, I always recommend the apps Hello Talk or Tandem. I I do have a link for my group classes. I just haven't started them yet or talked about them. So you guys are the first to know, but they'll just be once a week a speaking class that I want to do for people that want to just practice their speaking. It'll be, I think, in like a Zoom type setting. I can see you guys, you can see me, we interact. I am a native in English. Yes, I was born here in America in Michigan. It's in the northern part of the USA, which I have a couple of videos on my YouTube channel from Michigan, one with my dad, where it's called Yooper English because the English up there, I don't speak like that now, but I did a bit growing up and it is different. It's a stronger accent. So you should go check out those videos. And so English is my first language. I was 27 when I started learning my first foreign language, and I love it. Oh, from Ecuador. Hi, Jimmy. Yes, fair. I love languages. So Portuguese and Italian and now French. And I kind of have it in my mind that I should learn 10 languages in my lifetime because even if you just give 2 to 3 years for per language, you can learn so much. So, yes, I would love to visit Ecuador. Yeah, finding name. Yeah, just follow me on Instagram and I'll be posting about it on there too. If you're not already, I will just link this. You can find Pia's Instagram is still up there. You guys, if there's no more language learning questions, Marika, do you got anything for me? My friend Marika's from Italy and she has made learning Italian so fun for me because she's like one of my closest, dearest friends. And so I want to talk to her. And so I do all the time. And she's helped me so much with my Italian. Okay. Oh, Jose Nilton. Hi. We met on Hello Talk. So, how can I have a conversation and pass clear? Okay, so how can I try to communicate clearly what I'm trying to say? That's a great question because at the end of the day, language learning is about communication, right? It's not about perfection. We make mistakes. It's about communication. So that's a great question. I think always building on what you already know, Jose, will help you. So just continuing to grow in the language. And if you're wondering if the other person understands you, just ask them. Just be like, did you understand what I'm saying? Or how could have I communicated that clearer? I think that's a great thing. It's actually really funny. One of my language partners from Brazil, Victor, he like will have language calls and will be on the English side of the call and he'll just like, be acknowledging that I'm speaking and I can tell that he's not understanding, but he'll say, yeah, I got some of it. And so I'll be like, what did you get? What did you understand? And then he'll tell me the couple words he understood. And that way I can kind of know where he's at in his English language learning journey as well. So I think it's okay. Ask the person, do you understand what I'm saying? And if not, how can I communicate that? Because then you can learn, and then writing it down, taking notes, just helps reinforce the idea in your mind. So that's really good. Okay. Marika wants to help finding a name, find a name. What is your name, finding a name? It's a mystery. Okay. So I already know many words in English, but I don't know how to use them. Okay. So I think that's why learning vocabulary in context is so important. Instead of just having a list of vocabulary words and you're like, what do these mean? Put them into sentences and write paragraphs because then that gives context to the vocabulary and will help you know how to use those words. So I think that's super important. Thank you, Alejandro. Oh, wow, Haroon, you are doing a lot of things. You're a multitasker. Okay, finding name. How can I eliminate or reduce my fumble? I find it very difficult to communicate fluently, particularly talking to someone who is better in English. Yeah, I feel you because I have that too. In French right now, when I'm trying to communicate, I'm like, that like, because I don't have all of the vocabulary, I cannot communicate fluently. So I think a lot of practice. So in both listening and speaking. So, of course, some of my top tips for listening would be listening to as many different people as you can. And listening to videos that offer slow English will help you in the learning process because if you listen to people that are talking so fast, you can get overwhelmed and feel like you don't know anything. But then if you listen to somebody that talks slower, you can be like, oh my goodness, I'm on my way, I'm learning, it's good. So finding just different levels of people speaking English, both slow and fast, will help you with your listening. And then to help you with your speaking, you have to speak, you guys, because it's the only way. There's like no getting around it. And helping you with your fumble. Okay, say you know that you're going to be having a conversation, maybe like just about your life. So you could, before the conversation, go in and just start talking to yourself about your life out loud. And then when you're in the actual conversation with the person, it's going to come out better. So sometimes when I did an update in French video yesterday on my Instagram, and I actually wrote out what I wanted to say, and then I said it out loud a couple times, and then I didn't use my notes when I went ahead and did it. So it didn't come out exactly like my notes, but I think it came out better than it would have if I hadn't practiced at all. So I think just practicing. And another good thing is sometimes you can be more nervous at the start of a conversation with somebody. Maybe you don't know them. And so go prepared with a question or two because then you can ask the person something and that gives you time to just breathe, calm down, collect your thoughts. That means just take a moment and then you will be more natural. You'll sound more natural. And don't focus on perfection. Don't focus on, I have to get everything right. Just focus on enjoying your time with a person and you'll feel less stressed. And when you're not stressed, you communicate better. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope so. Yes, I'm just going through any new apps you're learning for language learning. Yes, actually, I've been on Clubhouse, which if you guys have an iPhone and you're not on Clubhouse and you want to get on, they just sent me some new invites that I can invite people. So just direct message me on my Instagram, just say Clubhouse or something, and I can send you an invite. So it's actually an app that's not just for languages, but there's tons of language clubs on Clubhouse. So you can enter into a room and you can either just listen, it's only audio, or you can participate and speak. So I'm on Clubhouse now every day going in different rooms. Yesterday I was in a Spanish room, a French room, and an Italian room. Did I go in a Portuguese? I think I did hop in. Yeah, because it's just so fun and there's different subjects. Some are there just for practicing the language, but sometimes there's just rooms where it's just talking about Bitcoin or it's talking about life overseas or it's talking about beauty, influencing, Instagram. I don't know. There's so many different rooms and it's been a great app for me for language learning. I love it. So if you're not on it, go hop on that app. Yeah, finding name. Yeah, I actually have to invite you by your phone number. So if you direct message me on Instagram and if you have an iPhone, it's for iPhone users only. I would be happy to send you an invite because they just sent me new ones. So I also have been using Buzu or Busu. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. I'm only using their free version. I don't want to pay right now, but it has a ton of free stuff and I'm studying French with that as well. And then I'm always on Hello Talk every day. I actually do interactive things with people on there where I'm helping them with their pronunciation and things like that, which is super fun. I love that app. And that's it for the moment. I do a little Duolingo every day because I have like almost 1,000 day streak and I don't want to lose it. So it's sort of this streak that motivates me. But I like that app as well. And then I always use Reverso Context too because it helps me to look things up and I like it more than Google Translate. So I use that if I'm trying to look up words and it puts things into context. So it'll give you many examples in sentences. So I really like that app. Yes, you guys. Oh, Marika's talking about an app called Drop. And yeah, if there's other language learning apps that you guys use, write them in the comments so people can check them out as well. So I'm wondering, and if you guys have any ideas for future YouTube videos, Instagram videos, I do short things on Instagram and a little bit longer on YouTube, or for lives, like that idea to do this live with Pia was from Pia. So if you guys have ideas to do lives, let me know, write it in the comments or message me. I'd love to hear from you. If there's not any more questions, I think I can end this live in the next couple of minutes. So hurry, guys. Do you have any questions? If you do, ask them. If you don't, it's okay. Sunday. It's Sunday. So on Sundays, my in-laws always take my 3 children up to their farm. We call it the farm. There are some animals. There's some horses and some sheep, sometimes cows. And my 3 little kids who are 2, 4, and 7, they go hang out with their grandparents for the day and they love it. And then I'm able to do lives like this. So it's amazing. Okay, Marika's saying that the app Drop is where you can learn a lot of vocabulary. Oh, Blinkist. That's true, Alejandro. Blinkist is a good reading and listening. So what they do is they take the most popular books and you can go on there and I think in 15 minutes you can understand what the whole book was about. And so they give you the main ideas. Talking apps. Okay. How much time? I think, Yerlan, I think that's like depending on the person. For example, is it your first foreign language you're learning? Because then it might take you more time. I think, though, that somebody can go and they can learn broken English in 3 months where you'll be speaking some. Then maybe 6 months you'll be having, shorter conversations. I would give it a year. Give it a year. But I've met many people that have learned language and are speaking so well in 6 to 8 months. So I think it's like, where are you at? How much time are you willing to invest? And that will kind of determine how long it will take you to become fluent. Yeah, so talking apps, again, the best talking apps I think are going to be the language apps where you can talk to natives. So, and the apps like, Duolingo and Busuu, you do talk on those a little bit. And if you're not correct, like you can't pass to the next level. So it kind of does your pronunciation, but obviously finding a native speaker is always the best option for you. Yeah, Marika said, I think it's more about what you do. It's so true. It's so true. And everyone's different. So you have to find what works for you with your lifestyle, how much time you can commit. And I always say, find what you love and do that. So find channels that are interesting to you, even if they're not teaching channels, or find films, or find series, find music, find books, anything that you're interested in will help you learn the language quicker, because you almost don't realize you're learning another language. So I think that's good. M says, I do talk to myself and my unconscious mind. That's good. That's good. Keep talking to yourself. I do the same thing. It is a good practice. And also writing things down, like even writing out paragraphs to yourself and then reading them out loud. Those things help. Recording yourself in audio, like on your phone or something as well, is an idea. You record yourself, you listen back, you can see your improvement if you keep them. That's another idea as well. So you guys, thank you for watching this live. Are there any more language learning questions before we end this live? You guys aren't like super chatty today. Sometimes people have a lot of questions. I'm trying to think what else. always just keep going, keep going forward. Don't give up little by little. If you need a break, take a day off, take a week off if you need it. And then you can feel more strength and energy to go forward in your language learning journey. Yeah, so animo, you guys. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me and Pia today, and then for me after a bit. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We had a time change here, you guys, yesterday. So we lost an hour. It still changes here where it goes an hour forward in the spring. It's called, what is it, spring ahead, Calvin? Then we lose an hour in the fall. It's called fall behind. And it messes up your sleep. So I like spring ahead better because my kids are waking up at 6, but now the clock will show 7. So that's nice. It's hard when it's fall behind and it's like 5 in the morning and my kids are waking up. I'm like, no. So, yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you found this helpful, finding name. Hopefully, I can find your name and meet you someday. So, you guys, happy Sunday. Have a great day. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to end this live. Bye. Ciao, ciao. Hasta luego.